Okay, I decided to do this video right now because a lot of you are in pain and you're suffering, and I'm seeing comments in this mesh injury thread on Facebook, and it's really disturbing to me. I will give you my history after I give you this information. I will put this information down in the description box so you can check it out. Now, there are other doctors out there. This is just the gentleman I went to. I went to Dr. Peterson in Las Vegas. He specializes in no mesh surgeries. I believe he's got another doctor under him now. And he also takes mesh repairs out. And I tell you what, some of the pictures from that are fairly disgusting. You can look up old YouTube videos of this and see Dr. Peterson basically showing you these things inside of these jars of what he's taken out of people. It's a mess. Okay, so that's the information. I'm going to put details for him down in the description box, and I remember one other gentleman I think I found somewhere up in the Northeast or the Midwest, somewhere in there, I think around maybe Chicago or St. Louis. I can't quite remember where it was, but I'll find him too if I can, and I'll put that in the description box as well. Okay, so my experience. Back in late 2012, I got the hernia. I believe it was starting in November, and then I realized what it was in December. I set my appointment up with Dr. Peterson in January over in Las Vegas. I set that up online. I scheduled it online. You can call down there and get it scheduled, I believe. I don't know if it's the same system now as it was then, but I remember it was pretty easy to get the appointment set up. And then it was just a matter, and they also help you with hotel reservations, at least they did back then. There was a particular hotel you could stay in, and they would, I think if you were one of his patients, they might help you out or something like that. Also, he has been known to do some pro bono stuff as well. He's a really good guy. So if you're really messed up and you don't have any money, he might take you on. So call down there and find out. All right, so out of pocket, I don't think they do any insurance. I did at the time. I think both hernias were maybe $6,000, something like that. And of course, I'm sure you could work out a monthly payment plan or something like that with them. I just was fortunate enough to be able to pay up front at that point in my life. So I got all that taken care of. I got the surgery done. Essentially what happens is you go, you check into your hotel. The way it used to be, I don't know, I can't guarantee it's like this anymore, but I met with him in the morning the day before the surgery, and he went over what was going to happen. He checked me out to make sure I did actually have hernias. And I'm not sure how it works if you already have mesh. You'll have to talk to him about that, or talk to the doctors down there. So anyway, the next day, I went in, next morning, early morning, I'd fasted all night. I went in for my surgery. I was really nervous, really scared. The first thing they have you do is you go into the bathroom there, and you kind of take care of essentially shaving whatever areas need to be shaved. They have you prep yourself for the most part. They do finish prepping on the table. And then you go lay down. They'll hook you up to your IV antibiotic, to your other IV, and then you basically just wait patiently for the doctor and the anesthesiologist to show up. Once they show up, you move into surgery, and it's very nice. They take you. I was very nervous because it was my first surgery, and I knew that anytime you go under, there's risk associated with it. And if I'd known the risk at the time, I would have been terrified, because the risk for myself was huge. It turns out I have mast cell activation disorder, where my mast cells basically just blow up for any reason. So I was high risk going in on the table, and I didn't even know it. So they give you lots of good medicine. I woke up. When I woke up, my wife was next to me. I didn't feel a thing. They helped me into the wheelchair. I got wheelchaired back into the hotel. They were great over there. Let's see. It was about 16 to 24 hours after the surgery where problems set in. And it wasn't Dr. Peterson's fault. It wasn't anybody's fault. It was that we didn't know that I had this very severe pre-existing condition that there really aren't any good tests for. And so I had a severe allergic reaction to all the medication. And even Dr. Peterson at the time, even after it happened, I don't think he even really, he seemed, I think, you know, my condition is like literally about 1 in 13 million people. So his thoughts were like I may have picked up some kind of a virus or something, or maybe a bacterial kind of infection. So he prescribed some more antibiotics, which made sense, you know. But I kept feeling bad, and I kept getting worse, especially every time I'd take my pain medication. And I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, okay, I got to stop taking that. So if I had been able to take my pain medication, the experience would have been super. I'd encourage you to go to him, because odds are you're not like me. Now, as for the hernia surgery, so I think I would have had very little pain. He encouraged you to walk around, and I did. So you don't get any kind of blood clotting or anything like that. That's fairly standard procedure when you have surgery like this, especially with any abdominal area. You know, it's you need to be up and walking around a little bit to keep anything from clotting. You don't want that to happen. So anyway, other than that, it was perfect. And if I had been able to take my pain medication all the way through that time, it would have been a stellar experience. Now, what I will say is that what you have to know going in is that when you're going no mesh, recovery time is going to take longer, because Dr. Peterson has used kind of a special method that's different from the old method, where he kind of moves some muscles around, I think, and sews them together. You'll have to check on that and see. You can ask him questions about that. I could be absolutely wrong, but that's kind of the way I remember it. And then, yeah, my left side has been stellar to this day, absolutely perfect. My right side has had issues since about 6 months out that I remember, but prior to that 6 months out, look, I want to really, if you go have a no mesh surgery, whatever the doctor tells you, this is just my opinion, when they talk about picking stuff up and getting active and doing things that way, picking up heavy stuff, I would say do double time. If I could go back and do it all over again, I would take off work for double the time or triple the time, and I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't lift anything heavy at all. I was feeling, I'm an idiot. I was feeling fairly confident not too long after the surgery, and I picked something up that was a little bit heavy, and I think at that point I messed up my right side, because I remember most of the weight being on my right side when I was picking this object up. It was like, you know, it was just like a piece of something. I don't know if it's a piece of furniture or a desk or something that I wanted to move outside. So I actually lugged the thing outside and put it on the curb, just because I was like, well, this has got to get out of here. I can't take this anymore. Like, doesn't meet right reason at all, but I did it. And so I always had a little bit of problems with my right side up until last week when it blew out again. So, but I can't go back through surgery again because of my pre-existing condition. It's not really, now it would have to get pretty extreme for me to want to go back to surgery, or I would have to be at the point to where we're looking at maybe I would see symptoms of strangulation or something like that, and then I'd be like, yeah, I'd have to go to surgery. So, but right now I'm just doing kind of watchful waiting with it. I talked to your doctor about what that means and all that stuff. I'm not a physician. Check the description box. I'm just a dude telling you his experience and what he went through. You have to make these own choices with your doctors and your family. This is not my decision. I'm just giving you information. So, yeah, overall, it was a really good experience. I'm glad that I did it. I see these mesh injuries